come together as a community to learn and support each other. Father, we just ask you blessings upon this day, this meeting, and these folks that are here today. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, if everybody stand, please, we'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Welcome once again. I'm Captain Rosenfeld, CO and Chaplain of the Southampton County Militia. I've been involved with Virginia militias for 5 years, this coming January. And in that time, I've had the opportunity and the pleasure and the honor of serving with and learning from some outstanding retired military and law enforcement individuals. I've constantly been promoted in rank and recognized for my abilities to perform in whatever aspect that they've asked me to do over the years. I was appointed chaplain, given the responsibilities of processing applications as well as vetting new recruits. And I have amassed a set of skills that has better prepared me to face situations and to handle them with a high degree of confidence through what I have learned. Today I want to share with you what a militia is, a little bit of history, and why this institution is just as necessary today as it was 250 years ago. I also want to share with you how you can gain this level of confidence and skill and knowledge to better prepare yourself and be ready for things in the future simply by joining Southampton County Militia. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
All right. First of all, question. What is a militia? I'm sorry, I'm blocking you. Am I blocking you? I'm sorry. All right. Military force composed of ordinary citizens, doctors, lawyers, store owners, merchants, nurses, etc., 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 trained for combat, often temporarily mobilized for emergencies or conflicts. Now, this is our hope, that we can become an asset to the community of Southampton County and be called upon if the local sheriff's office need to help with something, or to assist in disaster relief, search and rescue, or any number of things that we'll be trained to do. Now, next, it's a historical and ideological and philosophical point of emphasis that individuals' participation in militia was perceived by the founders as a fundamental right. And participation ensued that the citizens understood, appreciated life and liberty, provided a constitutional counterpose to standing armies, and we're going to talk a lot about that today, by ensuring that people would depend upon themselves for the national defense. It was this right to participate in the militia that many freemen veterans fought to obtain after the Civil War. It was well documented that freemen were generally excluded from service in the militia and hoped to attain the right to participate in the national defense alongside whites. John Bingham acknowledged this fact in 1871 speech, stating that the 14th Amendment ensured that the right to bear arms for the Union and the Constitution was no longer abridged and prohibited by state laws. As Judge R.H. Dana Jr. stated in 1865 speech, we have a right to demand that freemen shall bear arms as soldiers and militia. Have we not? Citing the Second Amendment as the authority, Dana rationalized that because Congress makes the national militia, it was within the national interest to see that the emancipated slaves had the privilege, the dignity, and the power of arm-bearing population. The Code of Virginia describes militia Commonwealth shall consist of all able-bodied residents of the Commonwealth who are citizens of the United States and all other able-bodied persons resident in the Commonwealth who have declared their intention to become citizens of the United States, who are at least 16 years of age, except hereinafter provided not more than 55. A militia shall be divided into 3 classes: the National Guard, which includes the Army National Guard, the Air National Guard, the Virginia Defense Force, and us, the unorganized militia. Difference is, the first 2 are funded, supported, supplied. We're not. Section 13 of the Constitution of Virginia describes militias, standing armies, once again, military subordinate to civil power. The well-regulated militia, composed of the body of the people trained to arms, is the proper and natural and safe defense of a free state. Therefore, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and that standing armies in times of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. A standing military force with an overgrown executive will not long be safe companions to liberty. Definition: a standing army is a permanent professional military force maintained by a nation during both peace and war. This concept is significant in context of its government as it arises questions about military power, state control, and civil liberties, particularly during the period of the Articles of Confederation when the United States was grappling with the balance between national security and individual rights. The professionalization of the military is the process by which military organizations become more structured, trained, and equipped to perform roles effectively, often leading to a standing army. And the fear of a standing army amongst many leaders stem from historical experiences with oppressive governments that use permanent military forces to control populations. We have a standing army, our military, but there are also other executive branches or governmental offices in the United States that you may not be aware of, and I want to share those with you. The IRS, I went on their website. This is the About Them mission to provide America's taxpayers with top quality service, helping them to understand and meet their tax responsibilities and to enforce the law with integrity and fairness to all. So why do they need 4,500 guns, 5 million rounds of ammunition? All the shotguns and long barrel rifles, submachine guns, is that to enforce tax laws? This was printed out in the Epoch Times in August of 22, this article. Department of Veterans Affairs oversees VA and its mission to provide health, education, disability, funerary, and financial benefits earned by the veterans of the United States served armed forces. Wow. Do they need 11 million rounds of ammunition? A camouflage uniform, rhinestone shields, specialized enhancement devices and tactical lighting. Health and Human Services Department. To enhance health and well-being of all Americans by providing effective health and human services and by fostering sound, sustained advances in science, underlying medicine, public health, and social services. But they have 4 million rounds of ammunition, 1,300 guns. The Office of Inspector General, they investigate fraud claims, people trying to get GI Bill stuff, and just general evil to collect money that they don't deserve. But that's what the Office of Inspector General, that's their job to handle that. Oh, the Social Security Administration. Administer retirement disabilities, survival and benefits, and enroll individuals in Medicare, so forth and so on. Secured 800,000 rounds of ammunition for their special agents as well as armor and guns. And lastly, the Environmental Protection Agency. Their mission is to protect human health and the environment. And this is just 3 of the bullet points that they put up there. I could have put them all there, but you get the idea. But the EPA owns 600 guns, and the Smithsonian now employs 620 special agents. Now, the Smithsonian is the museums, that whole institute. So, these are our standing armies that a lot of people don't know about. I didn't know anything about it until that article came out. Kind of full. But this is not the only thing in our country that could be, could be oppressive to us, intimidating to us. We have a lot of evil in this country that works against the American principle. And one of them is the American Communist Party. There's offices in Richmond in many states, not all the states, but in many of them. And this is how it begins. Our founding fathers feared most a standing army or permanent army on U.S. soil. De facto standing army is a bureaucratic, administrative, non-military, people pushing non-traditional law enforcement agencies that look and act like military, but they're not, rather than the foot soldiers of the police state's standing army. Wall Street Journal reports the number of armed bureaucrat non-military government agents has nearly tripled over the past several decades and now outnumber the amount of U.S. Marines. Anybody have any questions about what I shared with you there?
I also heard something similar about the Postal Service having stockpiles.
They do. They do?
Yeah.
So that's another one, you know. All right, we'll move on about who we are as Southampton County Militia. Our mission is to serve our community, to train, inspire independence, and prepare for all contingencies. Now, that may be combative, but that may be just survival, prepping, and the skills to do certain things to ensure your survival in the case of whatever disaster takes place. Just like these hurricanes that have come through and done so much damage in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee parts, and Florida as well, and all the path in between. Our vision is to train and empower individuals to a state of readiness and self-reliance in order to be a force ready to help in any time of need and to stand up for the rights and freedoms of everyone who calls Southampton County their home. We seek to inspire patriots in Virginia and across the nation to form their own constitutional militias as well. What we offer. We do monthly training. We will train once a month, usually the second weekend of every month, and it is a Friday evening to Sunday at noon thing. It's a weekend, it's not, you know, to get the most out of it, because you're looking at a 40-hour weekend once a month. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. Opportunity to invest back into your community with what you're learning. That's what I spoke about in my introduction, was the skills and level that I have obtained from being a part of this that now I can give back. You'll build reliable friendships with people of common interest who have years of experience. I can teach you so much, but I'm sure that with your experience, you have something to share, something to give back, and we're looking for that. You're going to have an enhanced level of personal confidence and assuredness in your abilities. it's just naturally going to take place for you. And then you're going to have lasting peace of mind and prayers. Our training opportunities are firearms, safety, and proficiency. Safety. No one comes into our group, I don't care if you've been 20 years the arms instructor in the military, with a loaded weapon, the training, until you go through a brief weapon safety training program and prove to us that you're safe to be around. That equal across the board for anybody. Physical fitness. Yeah, we're not like a boot camp. We don't get out here and run and do all our stuff half the training because there's so much more to do. However, physical fitness is important for you to be able to perform. This is a picture of a 5K ruck we do once a year. But we'll do calisthenics, we'll loosen up, we'll prepare for the day. You know, by Sunday you'll be ingesting Aleve and other things to help. We get into map reading and land navigation, and that's a really important skill to have. We'll do it in various locations, and what it proves out to be is if we're going to do a recon thing, if we're going to do a search and rescue thing, if we're going to plant somebody in the woods and say, all right, man, we got a casualty somewhere, we got to go find them. You know, we'll do it on many different levels, but we'll do it often because it's a skill that you have to keep up with, or you lose the ability. Camping and bushcraft, how to survive with what you have, how to purify water, how to smoke meats, how to preserve things. If you're in a position where you have to do that, build shelter to protect yourself from the elements. And first aid and casualty assessment. We get into, I mean, if you're in it's combat stuff, it's stop the bleed, it's not put a Band-Aid on a broken toenail type thing, but that counts. But we get into a lot of different things that most people don't, and so it's a good program. And lastly, radio functions and communications, and that's been a big one for us this year because a couple of us have gone. And is anybody else in here besides getting a ham operator?
Say it again.
Ham operator. Okay, so this was a great program for the whole 5 years we've been in there. We've been using these radios and training just to communicate back and forth in spots with, you know, one group being over here and there, and just, you know, making sure everybody's safe and whatever. But this year, a couple of us went, we got our tech license, and we turned around, we got our general license, and kid really dove into this stuff, and he had a whole setup. So in June's training, he came over, we built antennas where we could toss 50 feet up in the air in a tree and take those little radios and be able to reach out further. Then he had a backpack whole setup with a high frequency radio. In less than 10 minutes, he had an antenna up, and he was talking to Sarasota, Florida. When the cell towers go down, this could be it. And there's an article out here, or an ad out here right now for reliable radio. It's a pretty good program from what I can understand, but it also works off of cell towers. So if they go down, this is going to be the community. And so we're here to help you do the things that we've done. Get experience with it, learn how to use it. The licenses they're not tough to get. And we can set up, we really like to set up, if we get 4 people, we would set up our own ham club and use that inside to benefit everybody.
Question: you all don't rely on just plain and simple technology of CB radios? We found out that helps.
Okay,
in all
so
emergency situations when all the other communications go down. CB radios.
CB
never
radio,
right.
well, that's another one, but they're limited in their distance, as well as if we're trying to communicate with the unit, we don't want everybody listening. You know, then we're not going off the repeaters. We're going to set ourselves up to be able to communicate with one another. But yes, Kip, is there anything you want to address on that? CB radio?
You just got more frequency to play around with. If you want to go on a lower frequency, you can do this. You're not announcing it to the world like you were saying before. Yeah, CD would be a good thing to use, but you're limited to what channels and everything you can use and stuff like that. And if you want to really reach out, but not really stretch out to somebody, then you need to bring your frequencies in a little bit more. That's one thing we got to idea about.
Because you've got GRMS, which is family radio training stuff. You don't need much. I think you just apply and get a license. You don't have to take a test. But you're only looking at 50 watts.
There's also
With AM radio, you can go to 1,500 watts. You talk to the space station, you can talk around the world. You know, there's a whole lot more use and application for it. But yes, all of the aspects will communicate. We do many more things than what I've described here. I promise you. All right, our qualifications are simply, push the button. Where'd you go? Wow. Must be 18 years of age. Comprehension of safety rules and regulations, not only with firearms, but with everything, and basically, you know, common sense, what you're doing around fire, what you're doing around other people with, if we're out working, doing work day with chainsaws or whatever, just general knowledge of safety and the rules. You cannot be a prohibited possessor of firearms. In other words, if you have had federally or statewide had your ability or permission to have a firearm taken away from you, due to whatever, you can't be with us, but you can't be around a firearm. And you can't have any affiliation with a hate group. Lastly, there's no alcohol or illicit drugs at any training. If you're caught with that, you'll probably be dismissed. I might be lenient one time. I don't know. Depends on the situation, but the second time, if you get blacklisted across the state with every CO I know. Is there any questions at this point?
How many current members do you have?
What's that?
How many current members?
How many current members do we have? I'm looking at a shell of 10 right now. Militias that I've been in before were more Central Virginia, and I'm bringing it here. So some still exist outside. Militia should be in the county. The group that I was in before was a state. And it's hard to be viable. If somebody in Bristol has an emergency, 6-hour distance is not viable to get there and help. Being in the county here with 5 different boroughs, if we could get this thing off the ground and working the way it should be, you could have a Boykins, you could have a Franklin, you could have Ivor, you know, and you have all that. And somebody needs help, something's going on. You've got people right in the community 30 minutes away, 40 minutes. That's workable the way it should be. And that's the way it was back in the revolution times, where it was each little community that had a militia. So
Do you have a goal for how many you're trying to achieve?
I do not. Many as possible. As many as possible. You know, I mean, we grow, the bigger we grow, the stuff. There's one thing I didn't point out there that we didn't do because we were state before, is we're going to have a once a month meeting. It's not training. It's a meeting to discuss policy, protocols, different aspects of anything that could be coming along, and also at the first part of the meeting. So if the meeting is 6:30, it starts at 6. That's going to be a time to bring a new recruit, and he'll get a shorter presentation here, or it makes basically an orientation. Fill out his app, or maybe he's already got an app, and do your thing. And build it that way too. It's a constant application to move forward.
Sorry, when you were talking about the licenses, I heard you say
General. So there are 3 licenses with Ham Ready: Tech, General, and oh my gosh, what's the last license, Kip?
Amateur extra.
Amateur extra, right. Some places administer the license for free, or the test, the exam for free. Some places charge $10 or $15 to help support their club. And usually, if you pass your first exam, and you can't jump to the top, you have to take one, then the other, then the other. If you pass your tech, they'll turn around and say, you want to try your jump? And they'll hand you the papers for it, and you can do it right then and there. Some people knock out 2 of them at one shot. Then at that point, you pay the FCC $35, and they register you. So that's a 10-year license to do, and you can set up and start doing your things. Now, you're supposed to be licensed in order to communicate with it. You can listen all day long, but you can't push that key and say, hey, without, hey, this is KQ4 PLD, you got to have them. Supposed to have. Now, I don't think they're going to come knock your door down, but if that van happens to be driving down your street and picks it up, they might come in and say something.
So you got to be picked up by 4 bells.
Anybody else?
Oh, I have one question, segueing off his question. Being that you said that you would also like to interface with the localities, emergency first responders and whatever like that, do you set up those protocols with them out, what services you can provide and how you all will actually have a set of procedures that, okay, these are the times and instances where we will call you out and you need us, and this is how we are ready to respond.
That's right, yeah.
Like in case of flood, which is search and rescue, that service is highly needed. So like my friends down there in Louisiana with the Cajun Navy and whatever, and they have the protocols where they'll say, okay, this is the authorities that you cooperate with.
Yeah, well, that's why I was hoping that, some of the sheriff's department would be here today so that we could start that relationship, start building that relationship from the board of supervisors. Same thing with them, so that they will know, and yes, they will be apprised of what we can do and how we can do it if they want to go that direction. We're here. That's what we want. That's our goal, because being Southampton County Militia is not independent because we're Southampton County. I mean, I've lived here for 24 years. I'm from here. I'm from Virginia Beach. I migrated out here because Virginia Beach was growing up, and I like hunting, and it's just the whole deal. So I moved out here in the 90s, in 91, I think. But I got married I was an Iowa, and I got married in 2001. Moved across the Blackwater River into Southampton. I've been here ever since.
Because that goes better along the lines of, at the end of the day, your PR, public relations, as far as how the community recognizes you and sees you more as an asset to the community, other than a standing or army type, military type organization along the line with more of your Dark Chapel type.
Right. And that's it. I mean, that's what that's the main focus. We're going to benefit from everything that all of our instructors can teach all of you, and then as people come along with experience can give back and teach as well. But at the end of the day, all of that can be used as an asset to assist the county in whatever they need. We're set up this way, we do the same rank as the police and fire department, private to captain. And basically, captain, lieutenant, staff sergeant, or your command staff, that is president, vice president, secretary. That's all. Rank only means more responsibility, not so much more authority. One of the guys that used to be in our group said it this way. He says, it's just like being in the military without the stuff. Everybody gets along. We know what we need to do. People volunteer, they get it done, and nobody's jumping on anybody like a gunny sergeant somewhere. That's just not the way that works. We do collect dues because we are the unorganized militia. Nobody's supporting us. We will take donations, but once a year for non-commissioned officers, $100. For command staff, $200. We put that in a bank account, and that'll be once a month. Everybody will get a notice that says, this is what we spent, this is what we spent it for, and it could be medical stuff, it could be targets, or just whatever it is that we need that's coming up. You need to make 3 trainings to get the patch. Once you become a patch member, then you have the voting rights. When we do the annual voting, if somebody comes along, this gentleman right here has spent time in the Navy. My buddy here has been in the Army for a long time. I've never been in the military. I feel like I have now, but I have not. And it's a difference. And somebody says, well, you know, I think retro would head up a little better than you. Put it to a vote. He becomes a CO. He says no. But that's the way we do this. Not my way or the highway. I'm spearheading this movement in Southampton County. I will be CO for the first term. But other than that, I mean, if you like what you like, you can just keep me there. If not, then we move along. I drop down into another position. I'm not going anywhere because I want this. This is how we communicate. Telegram app. Easy. You just go on the Play Store, download Telegram. Once you fill out an application or whatever, I got your phone number, I'll be putting that in there and add you to the chat. We have 3. We have a command chat, which will only be the 3 or 4 people that are in command staff. SCM orders and information chat, which you will receive information but not be able to respond to. We're having a meeting, we're having a conference call, we're having whatever we're doing. You get that, you might be able to give it a little thumbs up. There's a thing there you can click it, okay, you received it. If you've got a question, you can contact any of the command staff and ask that question. And then we have the active members. Everybody will be included on that, and that's where everybody can talk to everybody, post a silly meme or whatever else, funny stuff, or bring to the attention of everybody that something's going on over here or something
Current
about
events.
this.
We use it for current events quite a bit.
So
Current events.
current events, yeah, that sort of stuff there. And that's me. My call sign is Shepherd, so if you want to add it, you can just contact me at Shepherd. I'll just add it to the chat. If you ever fell off of it, accidentally deleted that chat or something, I've done it, but I had to go back on there and get somebody to add me back on. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is honestly what we're here for, and this is something that I think is needed, and I'm willing to step up and do the job. And if you want applications, they're right here with pen, paper. You can fill them out right now on the table. I'll take them, and then we'll schedule the next thing to happen. And hopefully there'll be a training in December, because I'm ready to get started.
Maybe
Yes, sir.
feel free to grab one of those brochures up for you.
Oh, yeah.
I bought Mickey a brochure
Exactly.
that's the constitutional question on the ballot. This would
So, yeah.
benefit the spouse of veterans and stuff. That's exemptions and whatever.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
In training, since it's both of us, I mean, it's just the one day, obviously, that one day a month from it's Friday to Sunday. Yeah, so, well, the whole weekend is what I mean. Okay.
Yeah, usually, generally, we go around 1,800, with 1,800 to 2,200, you show up, set up, tent, whatever we're doing. If everybody is early enough, we may have some evening instruction about the first thing that's going to take place on Saturday. That helps save some time. We're reveling, calisthenics a little bit, loosen up, warm up, step up. First formation, passing of information, then we'll stop, we'll have breakfast, and then we'll get into the day's activities. The day's activities, we're going to try to cover 3 aspects and cover them thoroughly. And we'll get a chow break at lunch sometime, a dinner break, and then there's going to be some night activity. And at the end of it, probably no later than 2,200, we'll knock off, maybe 2,100 or whatever. Kick back for the end of the night. Again, Sunday morning, reveille call, first formation, passing of information. Optional. Don't worry, you're going to miss church, because you're not. I will have a service for you on Sunday mornings. And then we'll get into some lighter activities, because I know everybody's going to be sore. I just know it. I've been there, done it. I still get sore. Rubbed to get sore. But it's a good thing. And then we'll knock off around the lunchtime park, pack up, police the area, and dismiss until next month. And everything is going to lead, everything you learned the first time is going to lead into something that's going to happen the second time. You're not going to learn that this month and not address it for 4 or 5, 6 months. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to go back and say, oh yeah, we learned this the first time we were here. This is, and you'll keep abreast of all of it. And that helps it set in really well.
Another question, full of questions. What kind of landowner participation are you seeking, and as far as acreage to train on, to give you opportunities to train in different type terrains?
Yes. Yes. Now, I have, so at my place, it's a small, we got a small format. I've got a gun range, I've got a field that we can do some basic stuff in, but I do need a little bit. I've got another place that I think's 14 acres, mostly wooded, that I could do some land nabbing, but I'd like to have someone who had 40, 50 acres, 27 acres, whatever.
Parcel down there that where you have everything from swamp to high ground.
Yeah. So that would be great.
You really would be running into if you're doing any kind of tactical operations in a flood type.
And two, I know you haven't asked, but there are waivers that protect the landowner, from any liability due to that, to any activity, including that.
So like you could really do a search and rescue down there.
Yeah,
I have one of your folks out, it'll take you almost a month to find them.
Okay, yeah, so we would leave, that would certainly be welcome. Like I said, I got 2 small places now, and, a larger place to do something would be very welcome.
I saw in there a couple of items about age limit. One said 16, one said 18.
Well, 16 is the state's code for age limit. 55
Is that the same
the cutoff.
But
It's
you
not
don't
the same
cut
for
it
me.
off here.
No, it's not the same for us. 18, we say 18 because we want the individual to be responsible, be able, we've had we've had people come before that brought their kids that were 14, 15 years old. That was okay, but if you're doing that, you're responsible for them to reinforce what you have to do and endure in the rules and regulations as well as safety and everything. You're going to be responsible.
We're pretty loose on the 55-year-old limit at the top. I'm over 55. I'm
You
pretty
get
sure
pretty
some
close.
folks
so
are here.
I'll make sure.
Is that?
Now,
So you get pretty close, so I want to
Yeah,
make sure.
so we're very loose with that.
I'm not, so does anybody want to guess how old I am?
You told me, so I can't guess.
Huh?
I said, you told me, so I
I told
can't
you,
guess.
okay. He guessed yesterday, and I love that guy to death right there. He said, "Yeah, you 55, ain't you?"
Like I said, one thing back here, I don't think we mentioned here. If you don't have a whole lot of what you consider survival gear, military clothing or whatever, don't worry about that initially. That's stuff that you can acquire over time. A lot of us have some connections. We might be able to help you get some of that stuff. Plus, probably most importantly, I can tell you what not to get. There's a lot of stuff out there being sold, cheap Chinese knockoffs, whatever. Some of that stuff works and some of it doesn't. So if you don't have a spare room full of clothing and camping gear, don't really worry about that right now.
Yeah, it's one of the points I've always tried to make with people is, we're gonna do such and such and such, it's training. Oh, I don't have this and I don't have that, I better not come. No, because you can still learn. Maybe you won't be able to participate, if you don't have a flag jacket, you're a pro and I pro and all that stuff, you're not gonna be able to shoot if that's the particular thing we're doing. But you can learn everything that's taking place until you can acquire that equipment. If you looked at it, you go, oh my God, I could build an antique car, repair an antique car before I spend all this money. And that just depends on everybody's budget. Because I got 3 tents sitting in my closet that were too small until I finally found the right thing. So I bought and bought and bought. But that's another thing that we're here to do, is to guide you into right thing. One of our classes is gear lines, what works and what doesn't work. And you can get stuff and you can see stuff that we have, and you can say, yeah, that looks good, that doesn't. You can get it, this doesn't work for me, but I want to change this out. Kid's been like that, I've seen him change more stuff than anything. But when you're wearing it and you're doing things with it, it's like, oh, this is not working. This is too heavy. This is cumbersome. This is, so you start to look for things that work for you that you can afford to do. I mean, we have a lot of places that, like I say, we have a lot of supply, but we also have a lot of places, websites and different places that we get from that are the.
And if you guys have stuff like that, you can bring that to us. That's a benefit as well.
Yeah, I had a guy get out of the military, but we go to the farmer's market all the time. He said, man, I got all these uniforms, man. I might as well just donate them to you. So, hey, I like it. Anybody else?
I'm the training again, only because you said it's normally the second week of every month.
Now, it doesn't have to be if it fits, it's the third weekend of every month, that's whatever, but normally, yeah. So, and the reason we do is a standardization, because I'll give you a schedule for the entire year, and you cannot tell me you didn't know it.
Okay, so we know that far in advance, so.
You're gonna know from the first training to the 12th training what it is. And if we would take off a month, so let's say Easter fell on the second weekend of April. It's done. We're not doing that. Okay. Before, I trained with a group, and they took off April, July, and December. So you only train 9 months. Times are rough right now, and I think that taking a month off doesn't work for me, because you're only doing 40-hour weekends, and that's all you got. I mean, we're not doing 2 weeks in the summer like the National Guard, or 1 week in a month. This is what we have. We try to work it through everybody. Understand things that come up. You can't be there. Whatever happens, life happens. Kids get sick. Boss says you gotta work Saturday. You gotta finish this job. I get it. It's okay. communication is a big thing with me. If I send out on Telegram something to 50 people and 6 people respond, do the other 44 people give a rat's behind? I mean, just, no, I can't make it, I'm not decided, respond with something so that I know you got the communication. That's just big with me. You know, if you ask me something, I'm gonna get back to you within 4 hours at the longest. Well, I'm tired, but that's, nevertheless, it's still, you know, it's big when we know, everybody's on the same page and we communicate.
Yeah, but your bottom line is building discipline. I said the bottom line, you're building discipline.
Well, yeah. All right. Who's ready to get started? Let's go. Well, you can,
I gotta submit that.
you can empty his eye caution and fill one out.
Can I fill it out right back tomorrow?
You can do that.
I have on.
You got the same one I filled out? Yeah, it's the same one you filled out.
Okay, well, I just filled out. Do that for my company.